Hello, Year 1 TTC students. Welcome back to remote learning for TTC through radio lessons. My name is Teacher Emma, and I'm going to be taking you once again in this lesson. My dear friends, and I'm hoping that you are still respecting and keeping safe. Corona is real. Make sure you really adhere to the Ministry of Health instructions. And as a result of Corona, you all know that our schools are closed. However, in order to support continued running, Rwanda Education Board is in partnership with World Bank and other partners to support remote learning for all levels of education, including TTC. In this lesson, we shall be discussing or addressing cross-cutting issues in teaching and learning activity. This lesson is picked from Unit 5 of Year 1 syllabus entitled The Competence-Based Curriculum. We will be able to explain cross-cutting issues and how they are integrated in teaching and learning. Design teaching and learning activities that integrate cross-cutting issues. My friends, before we go very far, let us just take a minute and remind ourselves the previous lesson that we learned about, which was about problem-based learning approach. Who can remember? Yes. I guess each and all of you have got your notes and you are able to refer to them. Yes. And that's why I always say that take your notebook and get a pen, because you have to once in a while write down some of the key points that will help you not to forget these important topics. Yes, my friends. So we saw that a problem-based learning approach, it is a teaching methodology where students learn about a subject through an experience of solving an open-ended problem. It is a learning that results from the process of working towards the understanding of a solution to a problem. We looked at the characteristics of problem-based learning approach, and some of them were problem-solving, self-directed, collaborative, reflecting. I hope you still remember, my friends. And we also saw that in order for you to prepare a problem-based learning approach, you have to think about the learning objectives that it will be contributing to, and also put into mind the level of the learners. What is their age? What are the social cultural issues? Depending, and we also realize that you can use problem-based learning approach across different subjects. First of all, they provoke the students' thinking abilities, and also it helps them to become critical thinkers and also improves their research skills. Do you still remember, my friends? Did you do my homework assignment, which I gave you, of identifying or creating a problem situation? Good. So, and I'm trusting, and I know you people do quite a great amount of work in making sure that you have all the necessary notes. This is going to be helping you so much in doing your revisions. Great. So, my friends, as I did mention, today our focus is going to be on cross-cutting issues. Very good. Are we together? Now, before we go very far, as usual, I always offer songs, energizers to you, for you to remember that these are also very important in a teaching learning process. Good. I have another one for you today. And you know that? I guess you know that. It's called Father Abraham. And you know, Father Abraham had many children. Can you sing with me? Okay, it goes like this. Father Abraham had many sons, and Father Abraham, I am one of them, and so are you. So let us praise the Lord. Did you get that? Father Abraham had many sons, and Father Abraham, I am one of them, and so are you. So let us praise the Lord. You got that? Fantastic. Now, as we start this, I want to remind you something. That always take notes. Ensure to take notes of whatever key points that you feel me highlighting. And sometimes I will always be reminding you that please take note of this. Make sure you are in a free environment from disruption and noise. And please attend to the radio. Let's start. So, my dear students, before we begin, I want us to remind ourselves the 8 cross-cutting issues. Can you list them on a piece of paper, please? You have a few seconds to do that. Good. Think fast. Great. As you do that, I want to remind my fellow tutors, please always be near our students, and in case they have questions regarding these topics that we share on the radio, please support them. And again, I want to really appreciate parents and teachers and tutors that are always follow these lessons. Let's support our students to be able to catch up with some of these lessons that we share. Very good, my students. Okay. Check on your list. I'm going to read what I have here, and I want you to check whether you have the same list that I have. Wonderful. 1. Environment and sustainability. Environment and sustainability. 2. Gender. 3. Comprehensive sexuality education. 4. Peace and values education. 5. Genocide studies. 6. Financial education. 7. Inclusive education. And 8. Standardization culture. Okay, dear student teachers, I am going to read a learning situation. Listen carefully and identify the cross-cutting issues that teacher wanted to address and how. Using think, pair, share technique. Do you know that technique? Think, pair, share technique. This is where, maybe let me just briefly tell you about what it is and how it works. So you pose a question. Children are given a few seconds to think about it individually. And then the next step would be for them to pair with someone they are seated with and they share. Think, pair, share. Teacher Innocent gave 4 pictures related to environmental protection to P5 learners. He grouped them and tasked each group to observe pictures, discuss what is taking place on Earth picture, and suggest possible actions they can take to protect the environment. Teacher Innocent moved around to ensure every child or every student is participating. In selecting learners who presented findings, he made sure that boys and girls are equally represented. And Aline, the learner with low visual impairment, was given magnified pictures and she was seated in front. Now, student teachers, it is your time to list the cross-cutting issues addressed in the above situation and think about how they are being addressed. Can I repeat for you? Good. Using think, pair, and share technique, Teacher Innocent gave 4 pictures related to environment protection to P5 learners. He grouped them and tasked each group to observe the pictures, discuss what is taking place on the Earth picture, and suggest possible action they can take to protect the environment. Teacher Innocent moved around to ensure every pupil's participation. In selecting who presented findings, he made sure that boys and girls are equally represented. And Aline, the learner with low visual impairment, was given magnified pictures and she was seated in front. Now, my friends, have you listed down the cross-cutting issues addressed in the above situation? And think of how they are being addressed. Okay? Perfect. According to the learning situation above, in the following cross-cutting issues are addressed. Okay. 1. Environment and sustainability. Do you have that on your list? Remember, pupils are given pictures to observe related to environment. They discuss activities shown on the pictures and suggest positive action to protect the environment. So that's number 1. Number 2, the teacher also integrated the gender aspect. What did he say? We see boys and girls working together and are given equal chance in the class activity. And the teaching learning aids, girls and boys are both planting trees. Okay? Another one is peace and values education. When students work together, there's that mutual respect, respecting one another's idea, and the teacher is moving around to ensure that every student participates. Now, there's also another cross-cutting issue here, which is inclusive education. In the scenario, we saw that there's a learner who has got a visual impairment problem. And here, what does the teacher do? Among the materials that the teacher selects, the teacher is able to select some of the materials that will cater for visually impaired students. And not only that, the teacher also takes into consideration the fact that Aline has to sit in front of the class. So, student teachers, to prove that you have learned something about integrating cross-cutting issues, you're going to think of one learning activity for primary or pre-primary pupils. Make sure the activity you come up with integrates one or more cross-cutting issue. Thank you very much. I know you are going to do that. Remember, cross-cutting issues are not stand-alone subjects, but they cut across the entire curriculum. They are integrated in the curriculum. Okay? Are you thinking of the activity? Beautiful. Okay. Let us move on. We said that cross-cutting issues are not stand-alone subjects. They cut across the entire curriculum. And we always integrate them into the subjects that we teach, depending on what topic you are looking at. Some cross-cutting related topics are integrated in specific subjects as standalone units. An example, units related to comprehensive sexuality education, they are found in social studies and science and elementary technology, in primary, and in biology and health sciences in ordinary level. Example number 2, units related to environment and sustainability are found in social studies in primary and in geography and chemistry, among others. Okay? The second way of integrating cross-cutting calls for all teachers of different subjects to keep in mind the 8 cross-cutting issues when making lesson plans. In this way, we can integrate possible cross-cutting issues depending on the learning, activity, or context. Let me make this very clear, my dear students. When we talk of you integrating the 8 cross-cutting issues, bear into mind that you are not in every lesson going to be including all the 8, but will be picking only those that are relevant to the topic that you are going to be teaching. Let's have this example. In mathematics class, after resolving a word problem about statistics on prevalence of HIV in Africa, the teacher engages a discussion on transmission and prevention of HIV/AIDS. In this way, the teacher has integrated in comprehensive sexuality education, but in which subject? In mathematics. So it is upon you as a teacher to look at what am I going to be teaching? And therefore, you look at the list of 8. How do I integrate some of these into my lesson? That's something very, very key. Are we together, my friends? This is something very, very important. And this happens very often, that sometimes some teachers tend to confuse this. And you feel like one time a teacher asked me, how do I put all the 8 in one lesson? It cannot be possible, or you cannot have all the 8. My dear students, as I was mentioning, when we talk of the cross-cutting issues, it is not a must. Let me emphasize this. It's not a must that all the 8 or all the 5 or 4 that must be in a particular lesson. As a teacher, as you are planning and preparing your lessons, always look at the topic that you are teaching and see the related cross-cutting issues that you can integrate in, and then how do we put them in? By selecting activities that can be able to bring it out. My dear friends, think about the 8 cross-cutting issues and their importance. Because at the end of the day, we want these children to grow up having or bearing into mind the aspect of protecting the environment, the aspect of promoting gender, having vast knowledge on comprehensive sexuality education, but also equipped with peace and values skills, and also them to have a deep understanding on genocide studies, but also on financial education. And if we want to create an environment or student that are able to be financially stable, they need to bear into mind that as to us as teachers, as we teach, we need to make sure that we put financial education across other disciplines, but also the inclusive aspect. So, this is something very important that you must always bear into mind, that as we learn this, as you become teachers, as you are preparing, hopefully maybe next term or the other term you will go for school practice, you will have enough opportunity for you to be able to practice integrating these cross-cutting issues in the subjects that you will be teaching in a primary school. Now, my dear students, as we come to the end of our lesson, I want you to remember the following. Cross-cutting issues, first of all, we realize that we have got 8 cross-cutting issues, which I'm going to mention again. That is environment and sustainability, gender, comprehensive sexuality education, peace and values education, genocide studies, financial education, inclusive education, and standardization culture. So, cross-cutting issues, we said they can be addressed in different lessons when we are teaching any subject. This is something very important. Some may be addressed depending on the topic or content being handled. Others can be addressed through teaching and learning activities set by the teacher. Remember, we saw that some cross-cutting issues, they are standalone units in different subjects, and some you would be required to integrate them as you teach. And again, let me emphasize this. It is not a must that a teacher addresses all the cross-cutting issues in one lesson. No, don't make this mistake. So, as usual, as I wind up, let me give you a home assignment. This will help you again have a deep understanding on what we've learned today. So as you revise what we've learned, I want you to continue designing activities that address different cross-cutting issues in mathematics, social studies, elementary science and technology, physical education, creative arts, name them, Kinyarwanda, English, and so many others. Try to see what is it that you should be able to integrate in a particular subject, in a particular topic, in a particular lesson. Remember, I mentioned and I said, it is not a must that all the 8 cross-cutting issues must be seen in one lesson. My good students, tutors, parents, thank you for your participation in this lesson. This lesson has been produced by Rwanda Education Board in collaboration with the World Bank and other partners. Always stay tuned to Radio Rwanda, and this time for Radio TTC radio lessons. Until next time, goodbye.